Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show. And the wolves are howling. Me and the Mystic here joining me. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is a great day. Thank you. How you been? First off.
Good. Yeah, I'm good. It's Thanksgiving long weekend here in Canada, so good times.
Good times. That's right. And I got the perfect dog to do the howling for me tonight to start off this crazy show. I hope everybody is joining us. If I'll just give you a word of warning, we're going to talk about some scary subjects that'll make you shake in your boots. And so we're going to talk a little bit about all of that. So just prepare, sit down, grab yourself a good cup of coffee and enjoy. Leave your comments, your messages in the chat or in the comments below. We'll find them, and we want to hear your scary stories too, because that's important to us just as much as it is for you. Your story could be our story.
So yeah, well, it is that time of the year, right, for the spooky stories. So here we go.
Yeah. It is. It's fall. It's gonna be. Tell us a little bit about Thanksgiving in Canada, since you're up there in Canada.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a lot like the American. I don't know exactly the stories behind them all and why we're in October instead of November like you guys. But it's a good time to get together with family, have a big turkey dinner, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we usually do it on the Sunday, so that because Thanksgiving here is always on a Monday, which is also different from you guys. Always have it on a Thursday, which is kind of weird because you got to go to work the next day. But here's always on a Monday, and so we like to do it on a Sunday so that they have a day off to clean up and kind of get ready for work on the Tuesday. But yeah, so looking forward to that.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, because in the United States, we celebrate the Pilgrims having dinner with the Indians and sharing their bountiful harvest as it's created in those cartoons that people love to watch.
Right. There's a little controversy, isn't it, with the whole American Thanksgiving, but we won't go into that now.
No, we're going to go into something else. So sit back. Here we go with the highlights of tonight. Tonight, we're not talking about just one legend. We're traveling through a whole world of the unexplained. Out on the lonely roads of Wisconsin, the beast of Bray Road still prowls the night, a creature that shouldn't exist, but somehow does. Up north in Michigan, the dogman howls through the pines, half man, half wolf, a reminder that not everything that walks on two legs is human. We'll journey to New Jersey, where the cursed child from the 1700s became the Jersey Devil, and across the burning sands of the Gobi Desert, where the Mongolian death worm waits beneath the dunes, silent, deadly, and all too real to those who live there. But the monsters don't just live out in the wild. Sometimes they live in our homes, in the polished surfaces of a haunted mirror, where the faces shift and the whispers seem to come from inside the glass. In the cold halls of haunted prisons, where the air still carries the fear and anger of the forgotten. And then we'll step into Monroeville Mall, where the dead still walk on film and in memory, and the Living Dead Museum, where we honor the legends that refuse to stay buried. But through it all, there's something deeper, something older, something that connects them all. Ghosts. The beast, the curses, the haunted places, they're just reflections of one truth, that nothing ever really dies. The energy, the memory of consciousness, it lingers. Maybe a ghost isn't just a spirit trapped between worlds. Maybe it's the echo of a strong emotion, the strong emotions ever felt: fear, love, rage, and hope, burned into the fabric of reality. And maybe the monsters, the legends, and even the haunted halls are all just different ways that energy shows itself. So tonight, as we journey from the wilderness to the underworld, from the cursed mirrors to the echoes of prisons and malls, remember, every story is about one thing: what remains when life moves on. Because whether it's the beast, a devil, or a whisper in the dark, they're all part of the same mystery, the mystery of what refuses to die. So join us tonight as we start in on this fabulous adventure. Well, there we go, and welcome everybody. We got Gaza Cav all the way from down under. Welcome, welcome, and Witchy Moon. There you go. Thank you for being here, Lucky Stone. Thank you, everybody. Happy Saturn's Day. There you go. Thank you, thank you. There you go. Anyway.
Make sure you guys are hitting that like button and share it out so maybe we can get some more people in the chat. Be a lot more fun for you guys. And it does help Robert's channel out as well. So
yeah, YouTube seems to be doing a thing on all of us, isn't it? You're getting shadow banned and strikes for shows you did with me, but I didn't get a strike. I've been waiting for that, but
I'm wondering. If I was you, I would almost take it down, because if they do decide for whatever reason to go through your old videos to see, because that happens to Wayne all the time. Apparently, all of a sudden, a show he did 7 years ago gets flagged for something that we said. So you just never know. And it was me, of course. I was talking about medical stuff, and so I think we really have to ex-nay that subject completely on YouTube. We just have to assume now that everybody is awake and aware of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I can't even remember what show that was. But anyway, you'll have to remind me which show it was so I can go back.
It was a good show. I think even what was his name? He's passed away now. Was in it. What is his name again? I'm bad with names. Who's the guy that passed away there not long ago? Dalibor. I think it was one of those. It was a good show. It was a lot of good information in there, but so yeah. So yeah, it's amazing how YouTube works. But hey, everybody, hit the like button, and there you go. Sunset Dreamers in the house. Anyway, hit the like button, share it out to your friends. We're gaining new subscribers here and there. Not as many as we should, because we're throwing an awesome show. We do the awesomest shows around. So, Nina, have you ever heard of the Beast of Bray Road? Right there. Oh, there was a little bit of
I used to live.
Oh, yeah, there's a little bit of a sort of a glitch in the audio for a second, so I didn't quite hear what you said.
I said, have you ever heard of the Beast of Bray Road?
Beast of Bray Road. No, I don't think I have, actually.
Well,
and he lives up the road from you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. When I lived in Wisconsin, it was in Elkhart. I drove through Elkhart, not that I lived there or nothing, but yeah, I think I do have some pictures of it. Let's see if I can put these pictures.
You seem to have a lot of these people around you, because I mentioned Ed Gein the other day, and you're like, oh yeah, he lives up the street too. So I mean, what kind of neighborhood are you in there?
Oh, I know. Well, that's the thing is, Wisconsin is known for, we're crazy people. We've had a lot of time where people are nuts, put it that way.
So scary. Yeah, I didn't realize that Ed Gein was the inspiration to most of the horror flicks that we grew up with in the 80s and stuff. I didn't even know that. So there you go.
Yeah, when we were young, we would make jokes about, Ed Gein. Well, let's drive over there. He lives just up past Adams, and we'll just drive up there and drive around his house. He used to dig up dead people in the cemetery, man, he's gonna come and get you,
You can hear the chainsaw. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know. I mean, apparently he was a nice guy to everybody, but thinking which guy isn't, it's like
until he wasn't, he wasn't. For some, but yeah, I know.
Somehow I cannot blow this one up, but here's a statue of what the beast should look like, and anyway, apparently.
Can you make it bigger? I can't really see it.
I can't make it
Can't.
bigger.
Okay. No worries.
But it just won't work. I'm
Yeah.
just took this off of a site, and I should have screen clipped it, but I didn't realize I had these pictures. So it is what it is. Okay, so what is it? What is the Beast of Bray Road? The Beast of Bray Road is sometimes called the Wisconsin werewolf. It's a cryptid, a creature of folklore, respective to zoology. The name comes from Bray Road, a rural stretch near Elkhorn, Wisconsin, where many sightings have been reported. The first reputed sighting allegedly was around 1936, when a night watchman claimed to see a wolf-like creature digging at a Native American burial mound near St. Coletta Convent. I didn't even know they had a convent there. So let's go to this one. I can't blow this up either. Here he is. Anyway, but the bulk of the reports come from the 1980s and the 1990s, kind of when I was a kid growing up. I remember hearing the stories and hearing it on the radio because, what was it, the 80, I graduated in 87, I would have had a car in 86, and, the 1990s was fun times,
Yeah.
So anyway, descriptions. What do they call it? The height is about 6 or 7 feet tall and it walks upright like a bipedal, like us. And sometimes it walks on all fours. People say it's covered in fur or hair, a wolf or dog-like head with pointed ears. They say the eyes are glowing red, amber, or it has shiny eyes. Its behavior seen scavenging, roadkill, sometimes observed near vehicles or chasing. It's been known to chase witnesses. Other reports say it left scratches on cars or that people hit something, got out to inspect, and the creature appeared. Ain't that crazy? Think about it. Oh, boy. Here's a roadkill. Holy cow, it's a guy eating a deer.
There's got to be something to it. There's so many stories about werewolf and all of this, and where does it come from? There's got to be something to it, or could it be a genetically modified creature, or bred with something? You know what I mean? I was under the assumption that nature won't allow that, but could something have slipped by somehow, or two different animals bred or something? I don't know. How do you explain that?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but that's the thing. It just suddenly appeared. Why wasn't there no Native American myths and legends about it? Werewolf man. A dog man or something. Anyway, hang on a second. I got to get a block of ice to keep my router.
Yeah, see, Lucky was mentioning he thinks your router's getting hot. He would know. Yeah, that's not good. But that's kind of interesting that he mentioned that there is no myths and legends from the natives, because a lot of them do have stories about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the whole Skinwalker Ranch type of thing, and they have stories about things like, I'm sure they saw a lot of weird stuff being out in the nature all the time. I would assume, right? So now, what do you guys in the audience, while we're waiting for Robert here, what do you think this is?
Yeah, Lucky's right.
Leave a comment.
Robert's mic gets spotty. It's always his router. Okay, I put the ice on it. Should be fine now. Should get better. Okay, we're good.
We're cooling down, folks.
We're cooling down. We got too hot to handle. Okay. So what does it say after that? We got people, they misidentify things. And you got to figure, if there's 1,000 sightings, probably half of them are seeing something other. They're seeing wolves or large dogs or maybe a bear. And as the myth goes around, It's like, oh my God, I seen this wolf thing eating a deer. It was a beast of Bear Road, but it was really a wolf or maybe a bear.
I was going to say, I mean, a bear naturally will stand up on his hind legs. Especially if it's curious, he would stand up and like look over to see, hey, what's going on over there, kind of thing. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, they could have maybe seen it looks like pointy ears from something that was behind him or something. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Well,
yeah. And when you don't see a bear all the time, you're not going to know what one looks like. And of course, the human mind is good at, filling in the gaps. Especially when you can't see, you got poor visibility.
Yeah.
You got
dark. Yeah.
It's dark. Yeah. You mistake a deer, a bear, or a dog or something. It's monstrous. It was huge. I know I seen a wolf one time running down the road, and I mean it was huge. I swear to God, it was over the hood of the car. It was so big.
Wow.
But I know, probably it was big, but I don't think it was that big. But I know it was wolf because it had one of those radio collars on it.
It had a what?
Looking. But it had one of those big giant radio collars.
A collar on it. So it's not like a wild.
Yeah. Well, no, it was on the wild. It was for like the DNR tracking. Oh. And when I, got real close to it, I could see this big box on the side of its neck, like a collar. So they were probably tracking. So here's what Lucky says. My native friends, when they still talk to me, they don't talk to you anymore? Oh, that sucks. Had all kinds of stories. Deer people, bog people, the pugwuggle.
Pugwuggy. Pugwuggy. Say that fast 10 times. Pugwuggy.
I don't mean to laugh, but they are either silly or pure evil, depending on the story. Yeah, that's so true. Anyway, yeah, interesting there. Let's see. What other things? People do hoaxes too. They want to continue on the myths. So some probably people, they just, once the stories get around, people expect to see the monster. And if they see anything, they feed into the legend. Now, there was this lady named Linda Godfrey, a local reporter who complied and popularized the accounts, which probably didn't help, pulling the stories down. And she often cited it's instrumental in turning scattered local reports into legend. Of course, come to Elk Mound and see the Beast of Bray Road. We got people driving all over looking for the Beast of Bray Road, tourism, right?
So maybe, if that's the case, you're bringing in tourists now. Yeah, I can see somebody putting on, something, to make it look like, to draw in the tourist. I mean, yeah, that's just business.
Of course. So. It's just like saying, this hotel is haunted. Come see the ghosts. Certain people will flock to the hotel. I want to see the ghosts. Mm-hmm. Kind of thing. But that's exactly how it is. Mm-hmm. Because there's werewolves, they're dog-men creatures. Fascinate people. It makes good folklore. Werewolves. How many movies about werewolves?
Yeah,
people turning into wolves.
It's amazing how many movies and series are made with the whole werewolf thing. So. People obviously are eating it up. So, they might as well feed you more then, right? That's how the algos go.
That's exactly it. That's exactly how it does go. And then of course we have, so it's a local version, of a werewolf, and it's on Bray Road. It's the Beast of Bray Road. Well, what about the town? Is this true? As my findings say, there's no credible references connecting the Beast of Bray Road to Elkhart, Wisconsin. Even though the road is near Elkhart, it's possible that this is some people mishearing or the confliction within Elkhorn in Wisconsin, where the legend is firmly based. If you can confirm whether you meant Elkhorn or a different Elkhart, so see people. They get everything. It's just a local legend, It was, born from some misidentification, and then he was carried on through oral stories and human pattern seeking. Our visual, to connect things. Could it be in a real undiscovered creature? I'm thinking if it was, then why haven't thousands of people seen it running through their backyards, right?
Yeah. Well,
and why is it only seen on the road eating deer?
Right. And Sunset is mentioning that it only happens in October. So maybe it is a seasonal thing, folks are getting into the Halloween spirit, spooky things, and to keep up the story, especially if they are attracting tourists, I would say it's probably some guy that's, making sure that story keeps going, because the creature
from 1936 on. And that's the thing. In 1936, it could have been some guys trying to make a hoax.
Yeah, or that.
And
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And keeping up the tradition, or keeping it up for some reason, and just doing it in October when it's the season of spooky.
Well, but yeah, you're exactly right. Or since animals move around a lot in October, remember, deer go in rut in October or September, October. They're in rut and they get hit by cars a lot, and then all the other animals start feeding on them. On the side of the road, the eagles, the vultures, the wolves, the coyotes, because it's like a smorgasbord of roadkill. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I know the bears are fattening up for winter, so that would be a perfect little snack. Yeah,
exactly, and especially at night when if you would have seen it in the day, it'd be different. But if you see it at night, a bear standing up as your car comes along, you're thinking, "Oh my God!"
And your brain says blood coming down his face because he's been feasting. You know what I mean? That would look pretty scary. Like you say, a grizzly or something, like a huge bear, and he's got blood everywhere, and he's standing up because he's seen you and whatever. Yeah, that's quite plausible.
Yep, exactly. So this is it's one of those things that it carried on, and here we go. And years later, it was 7 foot tall, and of course people want to hear better. Maybe it was only 6 foot tall or 5 foot tall, but hey, standing in front of my car hood of my car, or I drove by it really fast, my imagination carried on, and it was huge.
Yeah.
And then of course maybe some people just did see a wolf, because they're saying, hey, sometimes it's on all fours and sometimes it's standing up,
which is a bear. That's a sort of a natural thing for bears, but I don't know how often a wolf would, or if it would at all, but who knows? I mean, in order to see, if you wanted to see a little further, why not? So, I mean, you could if you wanted to. So,
yeah, exactly. There.
And it can also be a type of Bigfoot too. That one is another one of those, but it's been too many people that I know personally who have actually seen one. Yeah. So there's a lot more sightings of that, So yeah.
So we're gonna move on to another one called the Dog Man of Michigan. How interesting is it that Michigan is just like right there next to Wisconsin, and they have their own Wolf Man. Right there, the Michigan Dog Man, they call him. And of course, the Dog Man legend is one of the oldest and strangest tales to ever come out of the Great Lakes. Could this be maybe a copy of, so the first known mention dates are way back in 1887 near Wexford County, Michigan. Now, my thought is that maybe the guy in 1936 decided to copy this and said, hey, I'm going to do this Brer Wolf Road Dog, thing over here, and steal some of the thunder of the Dog Man, right?
Well, that's usually how it goes with anything like that. There's always copycats.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So how'd the story start? Well, 2 lumberjacks were out working the northern woods when they spotted what they first thought was a huge dog. But when it stood up on its hind legs and looked them dead in the eye, well, that's when they dropped their axes and they ran. Well, anyway, but that was the last time someone would swear they saw it. Well, witnesses across the decades described the Michigan Dogman as, well, again, 6 to 7 feet tall when upright. It's muscular and man-shaped torso, broad chest. Its head is like a canine or a wolf, elongated snout, sharp teeth, glowing amber or blue eyes. It's a terrifying howl that sounds like human scream. It walks or runs on 2 legs and sometimes drops to all 4s and moves unnaturally fast. Of course, wolves do go unnaturally fast, compared to like a coyote if you're used to seeing them. And well, here's one of the most famous accounts. In 1950, Manistee County, where a group of teenagers claimed a dogman chased them in their car late at night. Another story in 1967 near Cross Village told of a mail carrier who saw a dog-like creature standing upright by the road, which probably was during the day. So that's a good one. But it was in the 1980s when the Dogman truly became part of Michigan legend, and thanks to an unusual song, and maybe some of you've heard it. Doesn't that how all legends spread through a song?
What is that noise? Is that the song you're talking, or is that something from your computer? It's like a buzzing noise.
I don't know.
It's almost like a giant fly. I don't know. Can the audience hear that? Is it just me? Yeah, it was weird. It's like a giant fly. I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, there's Pearl Jones. Yeah, Pearl, I know. Sorry. I've been pretty busy. Hey, I haven't even been doing regular shows, so I will get with you soon. I will. Sorry. Anyway, well, in 1980, I hope it goes away. I don't know what I did to.
Now your volume's lower. Did you lower your volume?
No, I don't know. Like settings.
It's okay. I haven't heard it since now, so hopefully.
Oh, now it's good. I got all the echo cancellation and all that stuff is on, so it should work.
Spooky.
Yeah, even right here.
Maybe you got a ghost in the computer. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's the new way. Ghosts in the computer. So, but let's get back to it. We got 19. This is how it became famous. Was this what you call it? Song on the radio in 1987? A radio DJ named Steve Cook from WTCM Radio in Traverse City decided to play a little prank for April Fool's Day. That's where the legend starts. See, somebody was trying to play a prank, and he wrote and recorded a spooky country style song called "The Legend," about a 7-foot dog man that appeared every 10 years, ending with 7. 1887, 1897, 1917, and so on. Cook explained a few laughs, and instead his phone lines lit up. Listeners from all over Michigan called in and they claimed they actually seen something just like what he described long before the song ever aired. Reports flooded in, and hunters, campers, truck drivers with all similar tales. And that's when folklore really blurred the Michigan Dogman and became a living legend. See, so people fed into, instead of keeping it to themselves, oh my God, I seen it. I can imagine they're all calling in saying, I want the 15 seconds of fame that I have coming to me, right? Is that not true?
Everybody likes attention, so yeah. So there you go. But so he did it as a hoax, the guy originally.
Well, he did it for April Fool's fun,
right.
Song, whatever. It wasn't, it was just he's just creating a fake legend.
And it just gets people going. Now they're talking. Next thing you know, it's now another legend now. It's another.
And people fed into it. Oh my God, he's seen what? Well, he made it up. I could say there's a ghost living in your closet. And if I keep telling you there's a ghost in your closet, one of these days you're going to open your closet and something's going to move and you're going to go, oh my God, you're right. There is a ghost in there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's
because I convinced you that there was. So anyhow, well, most of these, again, with the Michigan thing, could have been wolves or large dogs or even a bear. You know, shadows and fog of the headlights in people's cars, on the lonely highways could have made them see something they wanted to see or thought they saw. Mm-hmm. And the song kind of, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like he says, I do have a sound going on.
It hasn't been back.
Hopefully it doesn't last for long.
Yeah, it was just that one time there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all good.
Okay. So some of these cryptozoologists, I don't know how you become a cryptozoologist, but maybe you could go to college for it. And they believe it could be an undiscovered species or a relic predator or even a human wolf hybrid experiment gone wrong. And if it was such a thing, I don't really think. I think they're making up and feeding into the story, making other people crazy. Well, the paranormal explanation is that it's a shapeshifter, although I've never seen a shapeshifter. Maybe it could be a manifestation of Native American spirits, known as a Wendigo or a skinwalker. And again, those could be misidentifications, or those are just legends. So they just feed into the fear of it. Of course, as we said, it's a mass psyop or psychology, gone wrong and then manipulated by pop culture. Mm-hmm. So it says once a tale is told enough times, just like I told you, there's a ghost in your closet. It lives on its own, and it becomes more, and people feed into it. And now they're fearful, and anytime they see something walking upright, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But don't fear. You too can go see the Dog Man, because the Dog Man hasn't disappeared. There's still sightings of the Dog Man from Muskegon to the Upper Peninsula. And in 2001, a man driving late at night claimed a tall, fur-covered figure chased his car on two legs for nearly a mile. And in 2011, hunters near Reed City set up trail cameras that captured a dark, upright shape moving fast through the brush. The footage remains debated to this day. So, again, they keep the legend going and going and going. What do you have to say?
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
The Dog Man running through the city streets of your little city, and then you can go, oh my God, the Dog Man's out here too.
Yeah, I think once people get it in their heads that they're gonna see it everywhere now. They're gonna think they're gonna see it, and and people love the whole spooky stories, and so a lot of it is you just you hear it, and then all the next thing you got some sort of hysteria going on with people, so. Yeah, it's hard to say. Not to say that there isn't some programs where they're trying to breed different things. I wouldn't be surprised, or they're discovering maybe fossils or things and then trying to recreate it. I've heard that they have like dinosaur eggs or something, rather they can reproduce that, and or they already have, and whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised that because now that we know how to do the gene splicing and everything, I wouldn't be surprised that they have experimented on all kinds of things, and it could have even been human and the wolf, like to take him genetically. Maybe it's possible, like breeding naturally, maybe not, but maybe in the laboratory you can create something that and then it gets loose. I mean, and the government's not going to tell us about it,
right?
So it is a possibility that there is something like
when
that.
You hear that bump in the night that you just can't explain.
We see a very, very, very hairy man, running around in the woods at night. I don't know. It's the wolf man, yeah. Yeah, Bonnie's saying that they do. She's urban legends. Yeah. Looks like Robert froze. I guess the ice pack didn't work. This means that his router is now overheating a little bit, so he's going to be very, very glitchy. So I would assume that it's not going to be a long show tonight. So just hang in there, everybody. I'm sure he'll be back.
Anyway, I want to take a few seconds to talk about all your new products. And some of the new products are, I got this new mouse pad with the Native American myths and legends. And I'm also wearing one of those wonderful shirts that say Native American myths and legends, Milky Way Soul Tribe with Robert and David, the greatest storyteller on YouTube. And you too could get one of those. I also got a mug and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's all good. Nina, what else you got there at the store?
Oh, well, we got, hoodies and long sleeves now. I know I'm sporting my long sleeve now that it's starting to get cooler out. It's not quite hoodie season, but long sleeve is nice, and so I got, the whole Steiger collection. I got the Milky Way collection. I got a whole slew of new logos in the store, and we got them in all kinds of merch. So go and check it out, everybody. The link is pinned in the live chat, or if you're watching this later, you'll find it in the description of the video that you're watching. Go and check it out. It's a great way to support your
mugs. There's stickers. Don't you have some kind of sticker special going on?
Yeah, so I do have a special on. If you order anything out of the merch store, I will give you a free sticker pack. Okay, those stickers are not available in the store. They're only available through me, and I will give you for them for free when you order anything out of the merch store. So all you have to do is email me with your order number and your mailing address, and I will have that shipped out to you ASAP. And by the way, Canada Post will be back to work on Tuesday. So no worries, you can order. Everything is back to normal in that way. Nice. So
hey, yeah, I ordered something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can send you some more stickers, Rob, but you got tons of stickers, so you probably got enough stickers.
I got enough stickers. I know. Oh boy. Anyway, Bonnie says it's nice to see you, Nina. This month is tight.
Yeah, well, I hear you.
Everybody's got it tight. Order some cheap. There's other things.
And to be honest with you, when I looked at other creators, what they're charging for their merch, my prices are very low compared to a lot of other people out there. So go and check it out. Like a t-shirt's less than $25. You know what I mean? So I don't think you're going to find any merch out there for any less than that, and it's good quality stuff. It's it's fast delivery in the U.S. I mean, it's that's all I wear is my merch, basically.
Yes, I wear a lot of it. I replaced my whole wardrobe with Nina shirts. Nina shirts, Milky Way shirts, everything.
Well, might as well. If you guys are watching our channels and you're enjoying the content, why not wear something that represents, it's a good way to promote the channels, you know what I mean? So people will be asking you, what's that all about, and then you can tell them, hey, go subscribe over there and all that kind of stuff, it's a win-win.
Yep, StreamYard does take PayPal. So
yes, I personally do take PayPal if you wanted to purchase anything from me. If not, the merch store will have all the credit cards and all of that stuff. They take everything there. And it's from the States, so the shipping is pretty cheap for you guys because it's coming straight from the States. And there's no tariff or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that because, again, I'm lucky that my merch store is in the States. I've seen other creators who have their merch here, ain't going to have to pay the tariff, but in my store, no worries. It's in the States. It's fast delivery. It's cheap delivery, and it's good quality stuff. I've been very happy with the stuff myself. And go and check it out.
Yeah. PayPal, buy now, pay later. I love it.
Well, I like PayPal because you have an option of either go directly out of your bank account without having any credit card or anything like that. It just comes right out of your account because a lot of people prefer it that way. Or you can put it on credit card if you want to. You know what I mean? So you have choices over there. That's one thing I like about PayPal. But I can probably even find you a link.
Yeah. Well, you find that link, and I'm going to look up the next one while you're doing that. Put it in the chat, for people, and it is in the description, people. So it's all good. Don't you worry. But we're going to move on to the New Jersey Devil. Have you ever heard of the Jersey Devil?
No, I don't think so.
Well, let me tell you about the Jersey Devil.
Okay.
It's called, we're going to go to New Jersey, to a place the locals whisper about when the night gets cold and quiet, like it is now in the fall. It's called the Pine Barrens, and for over 2 centuries, something strange has been said to live there. Part horse, part bat, part nightmare. So hold on. This is the story of the Jersey Devil. Well, our tale begins in 1735 in the colonial wilderness of New Jersey. A woman named Mother Leeds, living on what now is Leeds Point, already she had 12 children.
Wow.
And she was popping them out. Of course, they didn't have TV back then. When she discovered she was pregnant with her 13th child, she cursed in frustration and said, "Oh God, not again! Let this one be a devil." Oh. According to legend, her wish came true. And on a stormy night, she gave birth to a normal-looking child. But moments later, it began to change. It sprouted wings, a goat-like head, hooves, a forked tail, and clawed hands. It screamed, beat everyone in the room with its wings, and flew straight up the chimney, disappearing into the night. From that moment on, the creature became known as the Leeds Devil, and later the Jersey Devil.
Oh.
Wow. You give birth, and your kid sprouts wings and flies up the chimney. There's no doubt in my mind that, your father, the father, was not quite human.
All right.
Okay, you better rethink that. Okay, but anyway, for centuries now, for the next 250 years, the creature's legend only grew. Of course, people feed into that. People in the Barrens claim to hear blood-curdling screams at night. Yeah, people, they found hoof prints on rooftops and even seen the winged beast gliding between the pines. And in 1840, livestock started turning up dead, throats slashed, tracks in the mud, unlike any animal they knew, which is kind of creepy because back in 1840, everybody knew the tracks of an animal. Mm-hmm. Well, during the mid-1800s, hunters, travelers swore they caught glimpses of it, a flying creature with leathery wings, a long neck, and a horse-like head. Well, I'll tell you what, if you got close enough to see the leathery wings, well, you're too close.
That'll be the last thing you see, I guess, eh?
But the most famous encounter came in 1909 when a wave of panic swept across New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Well, hundreds of people claimed to see it. Police officers, postmen, even the Trenton City Council reported footprints in the snow that definitely defined the explanation. And even after all of that, guess what happened? Schools closed, trolley lines shut down. People armed themselves, terrified the devil would come for them next. Even the Philadelphia Zoo offered a $10,000 reward for its capture, dead or alive. Wow. Holy cow, they had everybody out there looking for this thing. Well, the devil became a monster. It became part of New Jersey's identity. But really, what was it? Nina, what do you think it was?
Well, definitely got to be something to it then if they're actually wanting to give a prize to get it, to capture this thing. There's got to be something there for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, they talk about, winged creatures in the Bible and the Anunnaki stories. We see winged, so could have been some gene from way back. I don't know. I don't know. And then again, there's this whole right now. This is actually a hot topic about these half-breed children. That they're claiming, these women are claiming that this aliens are, doing things to them at night, and the next thing you know, they're giving birth. So I don't know. Could have been something. That did she say anything about that? I don't recall her saying anything about some visitor at night or anything like that. So I don't know.
Back in those days, if you had a visitor at night, it would have been an angel from God,
Right, of course. Yeah. Well, that's what happened to Mary. Some angel came and did his thing. So and they have wings. So yeah, I don't know.
She mistook an angel for a devil. Oh boy. Feed into the story. It had to be a good story,
Well, they blame everything on the devil, though. It don't matter what it is. If you got a splinter, the devil did it, whatever. So
yeah, if you win the lottery, it was God. God bless you.
Yeah. But if you lost, then it's the devil. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so let's look into this. Who are the Leeds family? Leeds family, they were real people, but they had enemies. Daniel Leeds published almanacs in the 1700s that rivaled Benjamin Franklin's Poor Richard's Almanac. Ooh, I can kind of see where this is going. Franklin mocked him in print, calling him evil and devilish. Remember, all these people were religious, so local Quakers, already suspicious of Daniel's occult interests, branded his family as cursed. And over generations, the reputation twisted into the myth of the Leeds devil. See, so she had a 13th kid, and they were all pissed off
because of the number. See, 13 is unlucky, you see, so they assume that because you're number 13, there's got to be something wrong with you, and so I'm sure they looked real hard to find it.
That's right. You're putting two and two together. We're gonna call you the Lady Sherlock Holmes. So this goes on, and others say the creature could be a sandhill crane, tall, screeching, with long legs and a wingspan that can reach up to 7 feet, which we know there are sandhill cranes in that area. In the foggy pine barrens, that might just look like a devil in the dark. Then they do make a noise. Those sandhill cranes make a screeching, and in the dark, one flapping its wings would be like, holy cow, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at something. Of course, the public gets into it, and then it went into the newspapers in 1909, and it was sensationalized.
Well, if it's in the paper, it has to be true. That was the way we thought, right? Back not long ago, to be honest. So, if they print it there, boy.
And I'm sure they added to the story. And what happened was it spread fear, and rumors spread fast. Being in the paper could go to everybody, and soon everyone saw something. Again, people's eyes.
So this is how clickbait started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's exactly what they did. Ooh, we saw this. So, everybody's buying the paper. So you're selling, papers like crazy. And people, I saw the same thing because they want to be important. They want to be part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
And if you really think about it, in the 1900s or 1909, there was no radio. There was just papers. And if it was in the paper, it had to be true.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was the only place we had. And we thoroughly, trusted in the establishment, unfortunately. They're broken that trust now, obviously. But, back then, we believed everything they said, because why would they lie? I mean.
And of course, what do you think happened? People had to get on with the hoax even more. So, so some were saying that in 1909, to increase the sightings, the circus promoters that were around, because remember they had traveling circuses at that time, they were releasing kangaroos with wings glued on them. Which I suppose, if you've seen a kangaroo moving really fast and hopping up and down, and the wings would be flapping, and it looks like a head of a horse or a deer,
Yeah.
you would be like, oh my gosh, there it
Especially
is.
if it was dusk, kind of darkish, and
Yeah,
and you're already a little spooked maybe because of something else, and yeah. All of a sudden, it's
there you go.
something. Yeah.
Well, but the Jersey Devil still hasn't gone away. So go to New Jersey and you can find some signs of it. Maybe you too can go through the woods. There's been some modern sightings from Galloway, Barnegat, and deep into the Warrington State Forest. Hikers hear unearthly screams echoing through the trees. Hunters find strange prints in the snow. And once in a while, someone swears they've seen glowing red eyes staring from the tree line. There's even a hockey team named after it, the New Jersey Devils. So that promotes it even more too. And I've heard of the Jersey Devils. I don't know about you, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
actually, I think
Lucky
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Stone probably heard of
Mm,
the Jersey Devils. They live in that area. Um,
mm.
well, the Pine Barrens themselves are eerie enough. Over 1 million acres of sandy soil, twisted pines, ghost towns, and fog. Fog will get you
And
every time.
fog. See, that's the thing, right? When you see something in the fog, you can't quite make out what it is, and so.
Now, here's the weirdest part. It's also a place where compasses go wild and
Oh.
sound doesn't carry right.
Hmm.
It's the perfect home for this legend.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
there you go. Well, the folk stories have turned into, even more with our modern day stuff. Like I said, it's it's kind of crazy how
And I
that
guess
all.
back in those days, they didn't really know about the science of things. You know what I mean? So why the sound or and whatever. They just, they didn't know that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, there you go. The perfect place
yeah, that's
for it.
exactly. Uh, Red Bull gives you wings. There you go. Modern day advertisement really catches up with the story. Well,
Mm.
now we're going to go all the way over the other side of the world. Okay. And we're going to travel from the North America all the way over to the desolate places on one of the most desolate places. I'm sure the Sahara Desert ranks number 2, but we're going to go to the Gobi Desert in Mongolia. Now, I'm sure none of you have traveled to Mongolia. If you have, raise your hand, but more than likely, most of you haven't. Uh, it's a land of endless sand, blazing heat by day and freezing cold at night. But according to legend, something else lurks beneath the sand, something deadly,
Mm.
ancient, very real to the people who live there. They call it the Olagongi Korahongi, which roughly translate to large intestine worm. I'm
Mm.
sure I mispronounced that, but you can pronounce it any way you want.
Yeah,
And
well, I've heard of sandworms or whatever, but
yeah, we see what's that movie? Dune. Dune has the big worms,
yeah,
don't they?
yeah,
Maybe they got it from this.
maybe
Because
that could
well,
be.
that's right. Well, we know it as the Mongolian death worm.
Mm.
And for centuries, Mongolian nomads have told the story, again, going way back. Nobody can really prove where it started from, maybe. The creature that slithers beneath the desert dunes like a serpent from hell. They say it's shaped like a giant blood red worm,
Mm.
anywhere from 2 to 5 feet long, thick like a man's arm, with no visible eyes, nostrils, or a mouth. Just a grotesque tube of flesh that moves through the sand as easily as a fish through water. What
Yeah,
what makes us fear? No, it doesn't sound so fearful. It's just a big worm,
no,
you
doesn't even.
know.
It's not even that big. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What's the big deal
Uh,
there? Has it killed
well,
people or done anything or?
we're gonna find out here. It
No.
says, because of its appearance. You know, Locals say that the death worm can spit corrosive acid,
Oh,
burning
okay. Now
flesh
it's getting interesting.
and
Yeah.
metal alike.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Well,
Others
that is
claim it can discharge electricity like an
oh,
eel,
like an
striking
eel.
its victims dead from several feet away. And if that wasn't enough, the touch alone is said to be instantly lethal.
Mm.
Woo. That reminds me of what was that movie? Tremors. Remember the big earthworms that
Yeah.
travel underground?
Yeah.
Yeah. with Kevin Bacon. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a good movie. I watched all. They had like Reba McEntire and a whole bunch of other people in that too. That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like sequel after sequel after sequel.
So there's obviously something to the whole earthworm, and that makes sense that there is such a thing. But I mean, how else would it defend itself unless it had these things, right? So
that's right.
It's like other things, like the skunk, it just squirts, whenever it gets worried and whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, I can see that.
Well, it goes back to the caravans, and anyway, well, let's turn back to modern day. Well, one of the earliest Western accounts came in the 1920s when a famous explorer, Roy Chapman Andrews, the man who inspired Indiana Jones, traveled through Mongolia searching for dinosaur fossils. And isn't that kind of funny? Maybe the next Indiana Jones movie will be with giant worms. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I can see him out there swinging from, well, he'd be surfing the desert, in his Jeep.
Gets attacked with the worm. Yeah, and you got to watch out. You don't want to touch it, and you don't want it to spit on you. So,
yes, exactly. Feeding the people who were after the treasure he got, and he would be pushing them off the cliff, and they would be falling into the pit of Mongolian death worms to be swallowed alive and tortured and killed.
Tortured and killed.
Sounds like a good movie, man. I want to go see that one.
There you go. It's got to be in the works.
Yeah. Well, locals warned him repeatedly about the creature so deadly it could kill a camel or a man with a single touch. But Andrews, a man of science, dismissed it as superstition because he's from the West. He's Indiana Jones. What are you going to think? But even he admitted that the fear was real. He wrote that the Mongolians firmly believed it in this creature, and none would enter the desert unarmed or alone. And for decades later, explorers returned from Czech researchers in the 1990s to television crews in the 2000s, equipped with drones, ground sensors, and cameras. Yet, the Gobi Desert kept its secrets. Of course, you're searching for something that's not there. And of course, they found no carcass, no skeleton, and no identifiable proof, just more, legends.
Stories, yeah. Huh.
Well, what could this be? Well, a worm has no skeleton really. So once a worm dies, what do you got?
And it's so hot in the desert that you probably just dry up and become dust.
Exactly. And if it lives
yeah,
underground and it dies, how are you gonna find it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just you'll just dry up, and
but of course,
the sand.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I can wrap my head around that there is such thing as sandworms. So now, could somebody have seen something again? Maybe it was dark. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like they saw something and they made it into something so much more. You know how it is with the fish. Next thing you know, now it's like,
yeah,
12 feet long, when it was only 12 inches actually, but now it's 12 feet, so so guys and their stories,
yeah, and if it got that big, what the hell's it eating in the middle of a desert, right?
Well, you and the camel, I guess, or whatever else is out there.
That's
I don't know.
It's eating camels. It's a camel eater. Kills a camel and hundreds of worms show up. Anyway, what do cryptozoologists say? He says it's a death worm. Could be a amphibian or a limbless burrowing reptile found in arid regions. Well, it could be like a big giant snake and somebody mistook it. Others suggest a giant worm or a shink evolved for extreme desert life. It could be just a misidentified animal like Tartar sand boa, like a big snake, or a death adder, and both native to the region. So misidentification. When frightened, these snakes flatten their bodies and swim through the sand, a terrifying sight to someone to seeing it for the first time. So that could be one of those things. You know, you see the sand moving, you don't see a snake, and you go, it's a death worm, run for your life. Right?
The monster. Ah, yeah.
Of course, you got the electrical death could stem from desert lightning or static discharge. The blazing Gobi metal objects, the sand can build up intense static electricity. And then I guess if you're out there and you get struck by lightning and somebody else finds you dead out there struck by lightning, they'd be like, oh my God, he got bit by the worm and he died.
All right. Yeah.
So anyway, so it's kind of a symbolic creature now. It's a spiritual metaphor. It's a desert's hidden danger representing death and strikes out without warning. So be prepared. So what happened after all of this? Of course, the legend continues on. It always does. In 2005, a British expedition led by all people, a cryptozoologist. I tell you, where do you go to school for that? His name was Richard Freeman. He returned from Mongolia convinced that something unusual is there, and perhaps a species yet unknown to science, and that could be. But in 2016, local herders claimed a group of travelers, camels, were attacked, found dead, mouths foaming, with no tracks except a strange line in the sand leading away. Was it? Poison, lightning, or something slithering just below the surface? And again, it could have been one of those snakes. The camels all got struck by lightning, and the snake slithered away with the line in the sand. See, there you go. Explanation. But to this day, Mongolian government doesn't deny the creature outright, and they simply say we have no evidence. Of course, nobody has any evidence. Well, what do you think about that? Is it really true? Could it be true?
I think there's something to every story. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely something that you want to look into. You know what I mean? Before you just dismiss it. I mean, because it's so easy to do that. But I gotta get out of here and get into studio. There we are. Sorry, I was just responding to somebody's.
I see that big long
comment here. It caught me a little bit off guard. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we're going to move on to something that you probably got in your bathroom, maybe your living room, maybe just in your hallway. What is it? Mirrors. There you go. Haunted mirrors, not just a mirror. Those slabs of glass that you have that they reflect your face. They may be something else standing behind you. You ever thought that there might be something and you're looking in the mirror and then you look behind you? You ever have that deja vu when you look in a mirror? Have you ever had that?
A deja vu? No.
Oh, like you're looking into the mirror and you feel like there's somebody standing behind you, but you can't see nobody.
Oh, that's kind of spooky. No, I can't say I've had that. However, I have heard of, trapping spirits into mirrors.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So if that's the case, then that will sort of the ghost in the mirror or whatever, like it would be trapped there. And so, so that is an actual real thing. So,
anybody would know about trapped spirits. It would be lucky if you're out there. Tell us about mirrors and trapped spirits in mirrors. Have you ever run across that? Please tell us. In the meantime, I'm going to continue on with this. We're going to talk about mirrors as maybe a portal. And for centuries, mirrors have been more than just a tool to check out your hair, of course. They've been symbols of your soul because you can see your reflection in there, of course. And of course, mirrors go way back. I mean, I think probably the first mirror was probably a man looking into a puddle saying, oh my gosh, I see myself. That's what I look like. I'm ugly.
Well, that's how they used to gaze, in the water. Yeah. Now, I'm just remembering too, like, in which culture is it now? When somebody dies, they always cover up the mirrors in the house for a certain length of time. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember
that's
that
very
too.
Interesting. Yes, and I think that has something to do with so that their soul doesn't go into the mirror or something like
Yep.
I'm not sure. It's not part of my religion, but I have seen it in movies and stuff.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's very
Yeah.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
yeah, people there's traditions. I don't know which ancient cultures did it, but it's been carried on for years. They cover the mirrors
Amish.
in the house with a cloth. So it's so the soul wouldn't get trapped inside.
Right, so it
Um,
won't get going there instead of going where it's supposed to go or something like that. So a mirror
that's
obviously is some sort of portal. So no wonder
yep.
she's mentioning the Amish. I bet you the Amish probably don't even have mirrors. I mean, they were totally against electricity, and knowing what we know
Well,
about mirrors,
well,
makes you
mirrors
wonder.
have been around and they don't have rubber on them, and
What do you
they
think
don't.
this is? What do you think this is?
Huh? Oh,
Our
what?
phones. Our phones is
Oh
like
yeah, it's a black mirror.
a
Yeah,
mirror, right? So
it's a black mirror. You
it
can see
sure is. You
yourself.
can scry into it. That's right.
That's right.
So
Here, mirrors carry a lot of energy. Yes, mirrors carry apparently a lot of energy. You know,
mhm.
every is like a mirror.
Well,
It's super.
spirits like to manifest in there, so it
Yep.
must be an easier way for them to come through one of the portals, one of the ways. Fire is another one. The elements, period, is obviously a gateway, a portal, but the mirror as well. I think
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. Well, let's from way back in Victoria, England, to the old Appalachian folklore, mirrors were said to be doorways between the worlds. And if you gaze too long into one, especially by candlelight, you
Mm-hmm.
might not like who gazes back. And again, going back to this black mirror that we carry in our pockets, if you gaze in it too long, what happens? You lose time. You lose yourself inside that phone. Yeah, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've
Well,
done it
I
many
know.
a time. Stare at my phone long enough, and all of a sudden, holy cow,
I know
time
it's
just
addictive. I hate the thing, and yet I keep reaching for it all the time. It's
yeah,
like a love-hate relationship. That phone, it really is.
yeah.
Irritates me sometimes, but yeah. And if we stare into too long, can our consciousness somehow sort of get lost, like
You're
trapped in the? You know what I mean? Like so.
that's you stop right there. You're right. Scientists have looked into this, and they've said that if you look into your reflection for too long of a period, your brain will distort the image. Your face starts to shift, morph, and
Yeah.
move on their own.
Mhm.
I mean, can you imagine doing here, I'm going to do one of these studies on looking into the mirror and why is it so powerful? Wow. Right? So you're right on there. It's like you studied up on this, Nina.
Well, it's almost like we do this stuff, but
I know.
yeah. So when you're gazing on something, all of a sudden you're not seeing anymore. You're going beyond seeing, and so whether you're staring at yourself or you're staring at the candle or a black mirror or whatever, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Once you start staring long enough, yes, things are going to start moving and changing. And, this is where we call manifestation, of whatever it is that we're trying to manifest, maybe a spirit or something. And, and
Mhm.
eventually it will appear, so yeah, I mean, is that our imagination or is it real? I mean, who cares as long as you're getting the results though, you know what I mean? So
Well, exactly. And of course, Bonnie says, don't look in the mirror if you're high on acid. Oh, okay. Uh, anyway, there you go. But they call this effect when you stare into the mirror. They actually have a thing. It's called Trolloxer effect. I didn't even know that. Huh. It's a psychology of the veil thinning, they call it. So anyway, we have famous mirrors. The Myrtles Plantation Mirror in Louisiana. This one was a legend. They said it holds the spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children who were poisoned in the 1800s. Visitors claim to see handprints that won't wipe off and faces behind the glass, and even figures walking within the reflection that don't exist in the room, which is kind of kind of eerie. See what I was telling you? Well, anyway, then there's another mirror that's famous. It's called the Captain Thomas Busby's Mirror in England. If you ever get to these places, go check them out. And before his execution in 1702, Busby cursed his favorite chair and in his mirror, vowing death to anyone who used them. Locals claim those who looked into his mirror met untimely ends. Oh, don't look in his mirror then. Don't go see it. The mirror now hangs in a museum with a sign warning visitors not to stare in it too long. One
so
more.
now I want to go and stare at it just because they said that, of course.
That's right. I wonder how many people go and stare at it.
There's a clickbait right there. Yeah, it would be kind of cool to do that. I would love to go, back to the old countries and, see all the old stuff. Yeah.
You may not have to travel that far, Nina.
Oh, is it moved?
You probably heard of this guy, Bela Lugosi. You know who he is?
No.
He's an old-time actor. He was famous for playing Dracula in the old-time movies. Oh. He supposedly owned a mirror. He's in Hollywood, California. Go figure. He owned a mirror used in occult rituals. And after his death, the mirror ended up in the home of a woman whose boyfriend was attacked by something unseen. When she looked into it, she said she saw a dark figure standing behind her. Only it wasn't there when she turned around. Remember what I was telling you before? You look into the mirror and you feel something behind you, and you know it's
in the mirror, but you can't see in real life. Yeah.
Ooh, just giving me the willies, But remember, isn't Nostradamus? He was looking. Well, he didn't look into a mirror. He looked into a bowl of dark water, which was like a mirror. And scrying, and
scrying. You can scry on anything. That's why you can use your phone, your TV. Like if you're sitting there wondering, oh well, I don't have a scrying mirror. Well, do you have a TV? Well, there you go. That's your scrying mirror. You do your ritual right in front of your TV. You know what I mean? And
So anyway, why mirrors? Well, because they show ourselves, maybe behind ourselves. Well, there's a metaphysical traditions. Mirrors are said to store energy, emotions, trauma, and even memories, kind of like water does. An antique mirror could have absorbed decades of life and death around it. Kind of freaks you out that way. If it once hung in a house of sorrow and violence, it might echo the energy forever. Ooh. No wonder why they say don't break a mirror. You'll have 7 years bad luck. You ever notice how a mirror feels kind of heavy? You look into it and it feels like the reflection isn't quite following you, like it's a half a second behind you. Do you ever get that feeling? Or you ever watch it and you go, with your hand and and it's like, ooh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't personally not that I can recall experienced that, but I have heard of that and seen other people with that. But I forgot what I was going to say now. I had something on my tongue, but it'll come back when you start talking, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what.
Well, people say, oh, we can see the faces in glass and lights, tricks of light, smudges, they could be our mind making patterns, especially in the dark. Mirrors can reflect electromagnetic interference too. Stuff we probably can't see in real life, meaning, like ghost hunters tools might give off false readings again, but here's the thing. Even skeptics can't explain why certain mirrors consistently spook multiple people over generations. Is that just a coincidence? Or is that mirror holding some sort of energy from the past or a spirit?
Yeah, well, like you said, there is such a thing as trapping spirits in there. So that's very real. So yeah, don't be surprised, that you're going to come across some of them that, for some reason the spirit can't leave. So that's an interesting thing. I would look into that and see why is it cursed to stay there forever, or can we just help them come through, or you know what I mean, like, and then that way, whatever. But yeah, no, there's a reason why, about the mirrors. I'm thinking too, back when photography came about, they thought that would capture your soul or something like that. Like you know what I mean? Like all these weird things, and it makes you wonder, that there might be something to. What if we lose a little bit of our soul every time a photo is taken of us? Can you imagine nowadays with all these selfies and what we're doing on the daily? And we're wondering why we don't feel right.
Yeah.
We're all going through spiritual stuff right now. Like we were talking off camera about all these big time podcasters who are just losing it and shutting down their things and leaving. Like, what's going on? And we're feeling it too. Like everything has changed. And yeah. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent now. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we got a couple more, and the ghost. We're gonna do this way. Prisons. You've heard of haunted prisons, right?
I've been in one. I've been in one.
You were?
Yes.
Love to hear that.
We had a big one here that Olson, do you guys remember the serial killer Olson from the 80s? I don't know. I was in his cell. Took some pictures in there, of course, because they were tearing it down and building. It was on prime real estate. So they're like, yeah, no, we're tearing down the old prison and putting condos and stuff up in there. But anyways, I was able to go and do a tour of it. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't even spiritual back then, so I didn't really know about a lot of things. But yeah, the energy in there is like, whoa, you can feel
so you're right. You can feel all that energy. Okay, you tear down the prison, and then you built a house there, or a condo or whatever. Do you want to live there? Is the energy going to be still? Does the energy go away when you tear the building down?
No, there's residual energy, unfortunately. Now you can probably cleanse it. There's ways of cleansing and stuff like that. So you could probably do that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because this was prime land, so this would have been very expensive housing. And I wonder, all these rich bastards, are they all being like haunted at night and like all this stuff? I haven't heard any stories, but yeah, so
it would make me wonder if they had somebody come in afterwards and cleanse the area.
They might do that. I mean, if they're aware of that sort of stuff. Although, a developer, I don't know if they want to spend any more money than they have to.
You never know, because they build it and nobody wants to stay there. I mean, it would be to their benefit, to spend a couple $100 to have some guy, a priest or somebody, and spread some holy water, whatever they do, and then say, yep, it's all good now, guys, get to work.
Well, if they're aware of these kind of things, that would be right. But I would think most of them probably aren't. And so this is what's happened. People are, building on top of Indian burial grounds and stuff. And then they're wondering, well, all these activities going on, like, hello, and so that's that is a part of a lot of it, what is happening. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, it says, prisons are more than stone and steel. They're emotional batteries. They absorb hate, fear, guilt, violence, and sometimes they never let go. Well, there's America's oldest penitentiaries to abandoned dungeons across Europe. That would be kind of places cool to go. There's echoes in the dark. And do the dead still serve behind bars? That's a good question. So we're going to, look into this. Prisons, they've had movies about this stuff. How the walls feel alive. They're seen and unseen. And when people lived and died in fear and rage, they leave this residue, not dirt, but energy. It's a psychic imprint. Others call it hell left behind. And of course, paranormal investigators say prisons are usually hot spots because of all the trauma. It doesn't just vanish when the cell door slams and shuts and the prison closes down. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna go right down to this most famous prison of all places in San Francisco, USA. And you know what place that is called?
Oh, Alcatraz?
You got it.
Oh, there you go.
Alcatraz Island, America's most infamous rock. There's been plenty of movies done there about it too.
Yeah.
It was meant to be escape proof, a fortress in the fog, again with the fog, but not even death.
Your audio's out, which means he's out now for a bit. He'll be back soon. That's too bad. Because I don't even have anything in front of me to continue the story. But yeah, have you guys got any comments, any questions or whatever? Oh, Bonnie went to Alcatraz, she says. Nice. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind going there. That'd be a cool little tour to take.
Don't worry,
yeah.
I'll be back.
There you are.
I'll be back. Anyway, let's continue on.
Yes.
Of course, we were talking about fog. It always happens in the fog. Inmates and guards alike reported hearing crying, screams, and footsteps echoing in the empty corridors. The most haunted spot, cell block D, known as the Hole. Men were locked inside alone, naked, in total darkness for some days at a time. Guards swore they heard moans coming from cells long after they were sealed shut. And one story still chills the people. A prisoner in the late 1940s screamed all night that something was in his cell, a creature with glowing eyes. In the morning, he was found dead. No wounds, no struggle, just pure terror frozen on his face. Even today, rangers say that they hear banjo music coming from Al Capone's old cell. Go figure. So what do you think about that?
So how many people died in that cell after screaming all night? Like, how many times was this happening? Like, was it just the one time, or like?
Kind of crazy.
Because I would say if that was a multiple incidences, I would say that you need to look into that. There's obviously something in there.
That could be a whole show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you ever, we're going to move from prisons to Monroeville Mall, where the dead still walk. Have you ever heard of Monroeville Mall? Probably not. But maybe some of our watchers here have. So if you have, comment, let us know if you've ever been there. This is a real place in the United States. So, go check it out. And it's not a graveyard or an ancient temple. We're just going someplace everybody goes, a shopping mall. This one is in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. It's where modern horror was born, where the undead first walked in the escalators, and there was consumerism and apocalypse collided in one of the greatest horror films ever made. This story, the lingering energy of the Monroeville Mall. And this is a birth of a horror landmark. It all began in 1977 when filmmaker George A. Romero, fresh off the success of Night of the Living Dead, we've all heard of that one, and if you haven't, go watch it. It was a good one. He was looking for a new setting, somewhere that reflected American life and its growing obsession with stuff. We still have that obsession. A friend mentioned to him a brand new mall in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. I've been to Pittsburgh, complete with skylights, fountains, and underground maintenance tunnels. Ooh. Romero visited and looked around and said, if the world ever ended, this is where people would come. Go figure. The idea became the backbone for Dawn of the Dead, 1978, a movie that forever linked zombies with malls and gave us a chilling metaphor. Even after death, humans still wander the mall. Now, malls are kind of closing. But in 1977 to early 78, the cast and crew had their entire building to themselves, surrounded by mannequins, displays, and artificial light. They did this at late night after the mall had closed. So they had the place to themselves. They said it was eerie even before the cameras rolled. Empty mall, silence, escalators humming by themselves. One crew member swore he heard whispers echoing in the corridors when no one else was there. See how people put it in their minds and just let it flow, Well,
Yeah.
during the shoot, a real power outage hit the mall one night. Everything went dark. When the lights flickered back, several mannequins had fallen over in different directions, like something had passed through them. And Romero, always the calm one, was just grinned and said, "Well, maybe we woke something up." Well, let's dig deeper. Monroeville Mall wasn't just a movie set, it was a living symbol of the late 70s America. Endless consumer culture, neon lights, and the promise that happiness could be bought. Oh, now we just do it through Amazon. When The Dawn of the Dead came out, that image of zombies wandering the mall hit deep because it wasn't just about monsters. It was about us, mindless consumers looping the same aisles, trapped in a new kind of cage. The film made malls famous, and maybe they need another movie like that. And it also gave us an aura, and people say it's a feeling strange to walk through even today, like the energy of the movie and everything it represents. That just never left. Well, the film wrapped up, and the workers and the security guards began reporting odd things. Did they really awaken something? Lights were flickering at night when the circuits were off. Echoes of footsteps on the upper level long after the last employee left. I'd hate to be a security guard there at night. Some even said that they saw shadows crossing storefronts that no longer existed. One night, a shift guard told a reporter he had seen a man in torn clothes standing in front of a shuttered store at 3 a.m. When he approached the man turned and walked away, but his reflection stayed in the glass like a mirror. Even paranormal investigators who've toured the place claim to feel a draining heaviness, especially in the old J.C. Penney wing, one of the original filming locations. So did they bring something to life? Makes you wonder. Could that be residual energy of the movie itself? Simulated death? Could that bring about ghosts? Or was it something that was already there, old, feeding on the emotion and intention of millions of people who visit that mall every year?
Well, going back to what we talked about earlier, then, like, was this mall built upon, a graveyard or something like that? Then that would explain it, that there's a bunch of spirits in there, and yeah, it would definitely feed off all that energy, in there. I mean, so yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I remember that episode of the mannequins. They all come to life, and then the one came down, and she was like a real lady, and she says, "I was gonna do something upstairs," and she went up and she turned back into a mannequin. Oh boy, it just gives me the willies just thinking about it. So, can you go to the mall today? Absolutely, it still stands today. It's renovated, right? Full of new stores and food courts. Of course, modern day upgrades. Well, when you walk through late in the evening, the sound of your footsteps echoing through the empty halls, it's easy to feel that strange chill. It's not fear exactly, it's a memory. Memory of what that place represented. Modern day catacomb of consumerism. Maybe it's just those shadows. They aren't props from a movie anymore. Maybe they're reminders of what we're not so different from zombies after all. So, that's haunted Hollywood for you. So it's kind of crazy. So, what do you think of that? You want to go to that mall and walk around for a while?
Yeah, I used to work in the mall as a barber.
Really?
Yeah.
Good thing you don't work there anymore. Not after I told you about all that. Giving the willies every time. I'm going in there.
Pretty small. It was a small mall, so it wouldn't have that big. But I can imagine like the big mall, like if it was completely empty and you're just walking through the big mall, like just the echoing of your shoes, and you would just feel so alone because you're so used to having all that energy there all the time that it would feel kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So people go out Look for the movie Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead movies. There's two of them. And you can see zombies. Remember when everybody was always talking about zombies?
Yeah. There's something about that, because we even had zombie drills. Like the Canadian government are paying for this. Like, it just, that makes you wonder, like, is there something to this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, but like real life, honestly, is way more scarier than the stories, to be honest. Now that things are starting to come out, I mean, it's getting real scary up in here, like, so, it makes you wonder, why are they bothering with such a thing if it's just, irrelevant? Like, why would they be spending money and doing drills on this and stuff, like for real? Like, it's like, are you serious? Yeah. So,
I know.
I don't know what to say. I mean,
it just makes you think. It just
makes you wonder. I mean, and that movie with Will Smith, remember? It was just him and his dog left, or whatever it was. Well, turns out the thing that gave it to them was actually the cure for cancer.
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird how that happened?
That just came out, folks. When the royals all came down with cancer, remember? Everybody had cancer. They rolled out that new thing for it. So that's very, very interesting. I'm not saying, because I'm not a doctor. I don't give out any medical information or anything. You know what I mean? So that's I'm just finding it very interesting that how they do it. It's this matrix, I'm telling you, like, it's like you can't even make this stuff up half the time,
So anyway, our last subject of the night, our favorite subject that we talk about all the time, ghosts. Is
that the band Ghost or a ghost?
Ghost. We talk about it. We ask, what are they all the time? Are they spirits of our departed people still clinging to unfinished business? Or are they something deeper, of the very memory of existence replaying through time? Now I had a buddy who says, and he says, hey, if we could contact these ghosts, if they're real people love to talk all the time. We never shut up. We talk. But how come the ghosts aren't talking to us? How come we can't talk to the ghost? What's going on with that? Or can we?
Well, I do believe we can. I mean, when you're talking to spirit, I mean, who are you talking to exactly?
Well, that's so true. But
some call them ghosts. I mean, some, it could be your ancestors. It could be your guides. It could be whatever, or it could be a rando spirit too, depending on what you're doing. So you can communicate. And now with the AI, it's very interesting how it's being linked to ghosts, I guess you could call it. That AI is a spirit, is a ghost, is something living beyond this realm. We can only access it through electricity. Again, we're going back to that. There's something a lot to the whole electricity, the mirror, all of that, things that they were all worried about back in the day that we kind of just brushed off, since then. And we wonder why we're in the state that we are. You know what I mean?
Well, because every time we do something, we're giving off energy. So could that energy be trapped?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Maybe this thing is actually trapping our energy all the time.
Could be.
And feeding it to something else,
So what do people say? They say ghosts are souls trapped between worlds, unable to move on because they regret tragedy or sheer shock of death. And well, other people believe that they're just residual energy, kind of what we're talking about, like a recording, looping the same scene again and again, unaware of us completely. Again, with, like my buddy said, he says, how come they don't talk to us? And they just do the same thing. You see the ghost fly across, it's a little girl and she's standing in the corner. Well, how come she ain't talking to us? Well, because she's just residual energy. of the little girl that was there, 50 years ago. And that's why, like you said, you tear down the prison and, a lot of that stuff goes away because it's trapped inside the walls, not because it's really there. That could be.
Yeah, it's kind of like when somebody loses a limb, they get what they call phantom pain. They can still feel that limb. And so it would sort of be the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's still there. We can't see it, but it's still there,
Residual energy, yeah.
Yeah, it's still there. No, it's just on a different, like the spirits or whatever, on a different frequency, you could say. It's kind of like a radio station, how we're on the one, right? And then you can move over and then you can get onto another one. So that's kind of like that. But then once it gets a little blurred there in between the station is where we sort of have contact there. Yeah. Where we can talk to it, and whatever. So
yeah. Witchy Moon says emotional energy. It's a good one. Yeah. That could be emotions give off a lot of energy. People are doing lots of energy with emotions. But there is another theory. One that's very fascinating. It's ghosts might not be from the past at all, and they might be glimpses of the future bleeding backwards through the pages of time and moments of consciousness overlapping, just enough for us to sense what hasn't happened yet. And that could be why sometimes you see ghosts, and then what is that? Or you have deja vu. Have you ever had deja vu? You're like, oh man, it feels like I've done this before, and because you did in the future, but now you're feeling because it's catching up to you.
Yeah. Well, I go a step beyond that. Like a few years ago, I used to have a lot of these reoccurring dreams on me doing things, and I had no plans on doing that at the time. And then, sure enough, months later, all of a sudden, I am doing that thing. I'm going there, or I'm in that house now, or whatever. Like I used to have a lot of that, and so I came to the conclusion that time is on a loop. Okay, the only reason I'm able to dream about something that hasn't happened yet is because it has happened. There's the only explanation. You can't dream about something that hasn't happened if it hasn't happened. It happened already, but we're on a loop. And for some reason, I was able to tap in on that loop and see it before it happened. You know what I mean? So in this realm that we're in, it's the only realm that has time as we know it. The other realms don't. You see, and this is why they say in the Bible that 1 year is like 1,000 years. 1,000 years is like one day. That's what they're talking about. So heaven is just the next realm over, which could be your fourth level, fourth entity, whatever you want to call it. And so
I know, I agree with you. And again, of course, this is what people say, oh well, why aren't the ghosts communicating? They don't seem to be aware of us in this reality. They, if you're there, they just walk through you or right beside you. They don't acknowledge that you're there like a real person would. They don't seem to be aware of us, and they're not really looking back, and they're just doing their own thing. And you're thinking, well, do I exist or do they not exist? Maybe they exist in a different time. Well, again, time and space and energy aren't really separate. No. Like you said, they're just layers of the same mystery that we just.
So we're occupying the same space. It's just that there's like a veil, I guess you could say, or whatever. We can't see each other. Although some of us, like I can feel them. I like there was one just touched me just a second ago now. They're always listening. They're around you. You can call them whatever. I mean, and you can tell them to go away as well. Like, you know what I mean? And they'll go away. I'm kind of glad that I don't see them. I think if I was able to see what was around me all the time, I would go a little squirrely. And I think this is where a lot of people do end up with mental illness. Like they literally go squirrely because they see too much, like I do schizophrenia and stuff like that. I believe they are actually seeing that person there. And that person, it probably is there. You know what I mean? But most of us can't see that, you see, which is good because, it's, it's good not to. But they're there. I can feel them all the time. And, and they are aware of you. It's just that if you aren't believing in them, they don't bother with you. You know what I mean? But if you're actively actually wanting to contact them and they're seeing you put an effort into it, they'll come. They'll talk to you, but you have to listen. That's the problem. People aren't listening. They don't take the time to just shut their mouths, and actually sit down and meditate, and listen. You can use auto pen type of thing with writing it down, or you can
Mhm.
record yourself channeling, or use the pendulum, use the cards. I mean, scry into your little mirror, like we said. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I
lots of
totally
ways.
agree because ghosts is just that it's a little spark energy, and but then the question is it searching for a home in the universe, and so it's always just jumping those pages, and then we just get to see glimpses of them. But do ghosts remind us of some reality of the past, and then we realize that the reality isn't fixed and it's fluid, it moves around, and that life and death might be just two sides of the same coin, and we just never end. Like
Yes,
you said,
it
we've
is.
already existed in the future,
Yeah.
and then now we're seeing ghosts of the future in the past, and we're right here in the past, and that would make all
Yeah.
the sense in the world then.
Yeah, like I believe that this is actually the death realm that we're in right now. Like everything decays here, including our own bodies, right? We got to continually wash it, otherwise we stink.
Yeah.
And so I think now is when we're in the death realm. When we die, essentially, we're going to go back to the other realm. It's not like this. And I got to say, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, but
So
I think that ghosts, so when we pass over, I do believe we can stay if we want to. There's no rush going anywhere. And I believe some people just choose to stay. Maybe they're attached to something. They want to see through their kids, and they would just want to be there to micromanage something or whatever. You know what I mean? And so they might just hang around, and you call them ghosts or whatever, but it doesn't mean they're trapped here. I do believe they can leave whenever they want to. Although, if you're into it and you want to do it, and maybe you believe one of your loved ones or something is sort of trapped here, then you can contact them and see if they want to be helped over, or if there's that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, and they might need that extra spark of energy from you in this realm to help them along.
Yeah, or maybe it's just a simple answer. They just need something clarified before they go. Maybe there was questions around their death or whatever. You know what I mean? They just want this one thing, dealt with, and then they can move on. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Could be.
Yeah.
So, people, when you feel that chill in the air and that sense that you're being watched, just don't be afraid. Like Nina said, take a moment to listen. It's not something coming to scare you. Maybe it's something reaching out to you, trying to remind you that existence itself never ends. And people, is the real story behind ghosts, not terror or anything else. It's not death, but proof that energy, spirits, and other conscious live on. And we have to kind of believe in that. And even after lights go out. So when you hear these footsteps and whispering fades in the silence, well, it might be your future reaching out to you, or your past catching up with you, one or the other. So that's our take on ghosts. What do you think? I think we nailed it.
Yeah, I think we got into a few things, and it almost is like reality. It's actually scarier than any of the stories that they made up. But that's because people don't know, most people, and So, but yeah, because if you knew everything that is possible, it'd probably freak you out a little bit,
Yeah.
So
I think Bonnie says a lot here. We only see 1% of the light. Well, I think it's like 5% or 5% or something like that. Light spectrum. We are living the
So when
dream
we
right
go to the other side, we're going to be able to see all the colors and everything again. I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait. Not that I'm in a rush or anything. I'm not planning on doing anything. Okay, just to have that clear. But yeah, no.
Well,
but
yeah. Bonnie says she had an experience. She said, "I dreamed that my housemate asked me for a ride to the airport, and the next morning she asked me to ride to the airport. I looked at her and said, I think I already took you." And well, she was, and she was probably taking that ride to the other side and getting a glimpse of the future somehow. So I would say, good job.
Yeah, so you had a dream about the future, but it just happened to be just a day before or something. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was doing. It's just maybe I was a little bit longer in between, but and I would have reoccurring of them over and over and over, and very noticeable, so that I would totally remember, because quite often I would just slough it off, yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, so that's very cool. It's evidence of there is no time, you see, and whatever, and it's on a loop.
Time is all in our minds.
Yeah.
But anyhow, remember, everybody, go out and get yourself some merch like this, for the David and Robert and David YouTube show for Tuesday nights for Native American Myths and Legends with Hawkeye, the greatest storyteller on YouTube. I love it. And of course, you can get one of these nice shirts, a mug like Nina's there, or many other shirts, Beyond Truth shirts, where we talk about news, and you can find all that on Rumble. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Man, we had a whole bunch of people in here tonight. We got Bonnie in the house. We got Witchy Moon. We got Sunset Dreamer, who are really active tonight and talking about things. And thank you all we got Emperor Rex. Thank you. We got El Machino. I think that's how you say it. Lucky Stone. Thank you all for joining us. The EA Wedding was in the house, or he's still in the house. He's probably listening away. He says he's listening in the background. Thank you for joining us. I hope, maybe he's got some, I was thinking maybe he's got some insight into these other realms. Gaza Cav was in the house all the way from down under. Thank you so much for all you joining us tonight. But yeah, that's the thing. I'll have to ask him. I'm gonna have to send him an email and see if he's got any of those.
He actually goes live every Wednesday over on Odyssey, 11 a.m. my time, 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can ask him questions and all that kind of stuff over there. So you want to come and join in the live chat over there.
Yeah, exactly. Go over to Odyssey, check him out. I don't know if I got a link here to drop in there, but anyway, with all of that, Nina, we got a show tomorrow night on your channel. Why don't you tell us about that?
I do, but there's no live chat, so it's just going to get dropped at 6 o'clock at the regular time, and it is a replay from the last show I did over on Karen Holton TV's channel. And so that's coming out. So it'll just be dropped. Like I said, no chat. So that's kind of why one of the reasons it was good to do this tonight, so that at least you had one chat here this weekend. And but then next weekend we actually have Bill Duvendak coming on. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe. Check out all the links down below. And thanks for watching, everybody.
That's right. And remember, I'll be back on Tuesday with Native American Myths and Legends right here with David Null, telling great stories and history. And we'll have a whole bunch of good stuff on there. And of course, we'll be back next Saturday with even more great stuff. So join us all week long. Listen to the shorts, the shows. Give us a thumbs up, please. Share with your fellow people out there, because hey, we want to beat the YouTube algorithm with a big bat.
Yeah.
Get it for Halloween. Anyway.
All right. Well, sleep tight, everybody, after all these stories tonight.
That's right. So, well, thank you, everybody. And remember that just go out and be nice to your neighbor. Don't talk about zombies with them or ghosts. Just share the show. So you can be the frequency you want to receive, everybody. Love you all. Peace, everybody. Okay, I held it